First contact gone wrong. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the UES Concordia, Earth's premier diplomatic vessel, as it glided silently through the outer reaches of the Arcturus system. Captain Helena Chen stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars as she contemplated their mission. After decades of interstellar exploration, humanity had encountered several alien species, establishing peaceful relations with most. The Concordia represented humanity's commitment to diplomacy first, though the reinforced hull and concealed defense systems spoke to humanity's cautious nature. Captain, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of our sensor range. Lieutenant Park's voice came through the ship's communication system, interrupting Chen's thoughts. Classification, Chen asked, already moving toward the bridge. Unknown, ma'am. It's not matching any signatures in our database. Chen quickened her pace, the familiar surge of adrenaline flooding her system. First contact protocols had been activated twice during her career, once with the methane-breathing Vordari, and once with the crystalline hive consciousness of the Trell. Both had led to productive, if occasionally tense, relations. This could be number 3. The bridge hummed with focused energy as crew members monitored their stations. The main view screen displayed a distant object, still too far for visual confirmation, but clearly moving with purpose. Broadcast First Contact Protocol Alpha across all frequencies, Chen ordered, settling into her command chair. Let's make sure they know we come in peace. Communications Officer Rivera nodded, his fingers dancing across his console, transmitting mathematical sequences, linguistic primers, and peaceful imagery, as per protocol, Captain. For 30 minutes, the Concordia maintained position, broadcasting its message of peaceful intentions while the unknown vessel continued its approach. The tension on the bridge grew with each passing minute. Captain, I'm detecting energy fluctuations from the vessel, Science Officer Ibarra reported, her brow furrowed in concentration. They appear to be scanning us. That's normal, Chen reassured. They're probably just as curious about us as we are about them. Ma'am, Rivera called out, excitement evident in his voice. We're receiving a response. Chen straightened in her chair. On screen. The view screen flickered, but instead of the expected greeting or mathematical response, strange angular symbols flashed across the display. They pulsed with an unsettling rhythm, giving the impression of something mechanical yet organic. Translation, Chen asked, leaning forward. Rivera shook his head. Nothing in our databases matches this pattern, Captain. I can't determine if it's language, code, or something else entirely. Before Chen could respond, warning klaxons blared throughout the bridge. Tactical Officer Quan's console flared red. Energy spike detected from the vessel. They're charging weapons systems. Chen's training kicked in instantly. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers, pattern Delta. The Concordia wasn't designed for combat, but it could defend itself. As the ship banked sharply, a brilliant beam of energy sliced through space, grazing the port side. The impact sent tremors throughout the vessel. Direct hit to our secondary power grid, reported Chief Engineer Santos over the comms. Shields at 60% and holding. Chen gripped her armrests as the ship stabilized. Open a channel. We need to make them understand. Channel open, Captain, Rivera confirmed. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Helena Chen of the United Earth ship Concordia. We mean you no harm. Please cease hostilities immediately so we can establish peaceful communication. Another energy beam lanced out from the alien vessel, this time striking the Concordia squarely amidships. The bridge lights flickered as consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Crew members were thrown from their stations. The acrid smell of burned circuitry filled the air. Multiple hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Quan shouted over the emergency sirens. Automatic seals engaging. Shields down to 28%. Chen's mind raced. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate attack. The Concordia couldn't withstand much more. Return fire, she ordered grimly. Target their weapon systems only. The Concordia's concealed defense arrays emerged from their housing and fired a series of precision energy pulses. The alien vessel absorbed the hits with seemingly little effect. Minimal damage to their hull, Quan reported. Their defensive capabilities far exceed our offensive output, Captain. Another blast rocked the ship, more devastating than the previous ones. Emergency lights shifted to red as the main power core went offline. Engine room. Status. Chen demanded. Static answered her call for several seconds before Santos's voice broke through, strained and punctuated by coughing. Main power core critically damaged, Captain. We're running on emergency systems. We can't take another hit like that. Chen made the hardest decision of her career. All hands, abandon ship. Repeat, all hands to escape pods immediately. Send out a Priority 1 distress signal to Earth Command with all sensor data on the hostile vessel. As the evacuation order echoed throughout the dying ship, Chen turned to her bridge crew. Get to the pods. That's an order. Captain, Rivera began to protest. I'll be right behind you, Chen promised, already accessing the command console. I need to make sure the distress signal gets out with complete data. Now go. The bridge crew reluctantly complied, heading for the emergency escape routes. Chen worked frantically, compiling all sensor readings, communication attempts, and tactical data into a compressed packet. As she finished the transmission, another blast tore through the ship, severing the bridge from the rest of the vessel. Chen was thrown against the bulkhead, pain blossoming in her side where a fragment of metal had embedded itself. Through the newly created gap in the hull, she could see the alien vessel, its angular form silhouetted against the stars. The emergency force field flickered weakly, barely maintaining atmosphere on the devastated bridge. With her remaining strength, Chen dragged herself back to the console and activated the final protocol. This is Captain Helena Chen of the UES Concordia. We were on a peaceful mission when attacked without provocation. The attacker is unlike any species we've encountered. Earth must be warned. They show no interest in communication, only destruction. As the force field failed and the vacuum of space reached for her, Chen's last act was to hit the transmit button, sending her final warning across the vast distances to Earth. General Maxwell Patel stood rigidly before the United Earth Defense Council, his weathered face betraying none of the rage that simmered within him. The holographic display in the center of the chamber showed the last moments of the Concordia, reconstructed from the emergency data packets and escape pod black boxes. 43 crew members made it to escape pods, Patel reported, his voice steady despite the emotion churning beneath. Captain Chen ensured the data transmission before the ship was destroyed. She did not survive. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Representative Ortiz was the first to speak, her voice tight with controlled anger. This was an unprovoked attack on a diplomatic vessel. The Concordia made no aggressive moves. Correct, Patel confirmed. Our analysis of the sensor data shows the alien vessel initiated hostilities approximately 3 minutes after receiving our standard greeting package. There was no warning, no attempt at communication beyond their initial unintelligible response. Have we identified the species? Asked Representative Wu, the oldest member of the council. Patel shook his head. Negative. Their configuration doesn't match any known species in our database or those shared by our allies. We're calling them harbingers for now, based on sensor readings that suggest they may be advanced scouts for a larger force. What's your recommendation, General? The council chairperson leaned forward, fingers steepled. Patel didn't hesitate. Immediate military response. I've already placed the 2nd and 4th fleets on high alert. I propose sending a battle group led by the dreadnought Indomitable under Admiral Rice to hunt down this threat and neutralize it before more diplomatic vessels, or, worse, civilian settlements are targeted. Murmurs rippled through the council. Earth's military doctrine had always emphasized restraint, especially since joining the Galactic community. But the destruction of the Concordia changed everything. The diplomatic implications, began one representative. With respect, Paddle interrupted, something he rarely did. 47 people are dead. Captain Chin and 6 others never made it off that ship. This wasn't a misunderstanding or cultural difference. The Harbingers deliberately attacked a clearly marked diplomatic vessel that was broadcasting peace messages. He stepped closer to the holographic display, which now showed the strange angular design of the alien ship. Our allies need to see that humanity will not tolerate such aggression. More importantly, the Harbingers need to learn that attacking humans has consequences. The chairperson studied Patel for a long moment before turning to the rest of the council. Let's put it to a vote. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, Admiral Elisa Reyes received her orders. The most advanced battle group in Earth's fleet would depart immediately to hunt down the aliens who had attacked the Concordia. In her office aboard the massive dreadnought Indomitable, Admiral Reyes reviewed the sensor data from the Concordia for the 10th time. Unlike most officers of her rank, Reyes had risen through the scientific division before transferring to tactical command. Her analytical mind had saved countless lives during the Proxima conflict, when she'd identified patterns in enemy movements that nobody else had noticed. Now, she focused on the energy signature of the Harbinger vessel, noting irregularities in its propulsion system. "They're leaving a trail," she murmured to herself. "They don't think we can follow it, but they're wrong." Her aide, Lieutenant Commander Jackson, entered after a brief knock. "Ma'am, the battle group is assembled and ready for your inspection." Reyes nodded, closing the holographic display. "Thank you, Commander. Let's go show them what they're hunting." The observation deck provided a sweeping view of Earth's orbital shipyards, where 12 warships of varying classes had formed up in attack formation. At the center, the Indomitable dwarfed its escorts, a leviathan of advanced alloys and weapon systems, representing the pinnacle of human military engineering. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Reyes said quietly as Jackson joined her at the viewport. "Yes, Mom. The most powerful battle group ever assembled." Reyes shook her head slightly. "I meant space itself. So vast, so peaceful, until someone decides to disturb that peace." She turned to face her aide. "I've fought in wars before, Jackson. I've given orders that sent people to their deaths. But this is different." "How so, Admiral?" "Because for the first time, we're not responding to a known threat or protecting contested territory. We're hunting an enemy we don't understand, who may not understand us." She gestured toward the assembled fleet. "All this firepower, and our greatest weapon might be understanding what we're facing." Jackson looked confused. "With respect, Admiral, they destroyed the Concordia without attempting communication." "Exactly," Reyes said, her eyes hardening. "And I intend to find out why before I obliterate them from existence." She straightened her uniform. "Begin boarding procedures. We depart in 2 hours." As the battle group broke orbit and accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, a message was transmitted to all ships. It was brief, direct, and left no room for misinterpretation. "This is Admiral Reyes. Our mission is clear. Find the aliens who attacked the Concordia, determine the extent of the threat they pose, and eliminate that threat with extreme prejudice. They believe they can attack humanity without consequences. We will show them how wrong they are." Reyes out. The hunt had begun. The hunter's trail, the void between stars, stretched before the human battle group as they pushed their engines beyond recommended limits. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching as Lieutenant Commander Prisha Mehta monitored the tracking systems she had personally developed for this mission. "How's our trail, Commander?" Reyes asked, stepping closer to the specialized console, where complex energy patterns swirled in 3-dimensional projections. Mehta's fingers danced across the interface, adjusting parameters with practiced precision. "Still solid, Admiral. The Harbinger vessel's drive leaves distinct quantum distortions that most races would consider untraceable, but they didn't count on human persistence." Reyes allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's relatively recent emergence onto the galactic stage had given them one critical advantage. They approached space travel and detection systems from entirely different angles than older species. While the Harbingers might have successfully evaded other civilizations, they hadn't anticipated human ingenuity. The trail leads directly toward the Velorum cluster, Meta continued, highlighting a distant region of space. Based on their velocity and trajectory, they're heading for the outer systems, sparsely populated areas with minimal defensive capabilities. Captain Vega, the Indomitable's commanding officer, joined them at the tracking station. "Hunting grounds," he said grimly. "If they attack the Concordia without provocation, what would they do to undefended colonies?" "Precisely why we're pushing our engines beyond safety parameters," Rice replied. "Engineering complains, but I've authorized the risk. We need to intercept before they reach populated systems." The ship's AI, Athena, manifested a holographic avatar beside the tracking station. Designed to appear as a professional woman in a simple uniform, Athena's appearance belied the complex quantum processing that made her the most advanced artificial intelligence in Earth's fleet. "Admiral, I've completed my analysis of the Concordia's sensor logs," she reported. "I believe I've identified patterns in the Harbinger's weapon systems that may be exploitable." "Show me," Rise ordered. Athena expanded her projection to display a detailed schematic of the alien vessel, highlighting specific sections with pulsing red markers. "Their energy weapons draw power in predictable cycles. There's a 3-second vulnerability window between firing sequences when their shields weaken approximately 22% to accommodate the power drain." Captain Vega studied the schematic with a tactical eye. "That's not much of a window." "It's all we need," Rice countered. "Our missile guidance systems can be programmed to time their detonations precisely within that window. Prepare a tactical briefing for all ships in the battle group." "Already done, Admiral," Athena replied. "I've also taken the liberty of simulating various attack scenarios based on the limited data we have. The most promising approach appears to be a distributed engagement pattern rather than concentrated firepower." Rice nodded in approval. "Send the complete analysis to my ready room. I want to review it before we—" "Admiral," Meta interrupted, her voice sharp with urgency. "The trail is diverging." They'd split up. The tracking display shifted, showing the primary energy signature fragmenting into 3 distinct paths. Rice leaned forward, studying the new pattern with narrowed eyes. "Not random," she murmured. "These are deliberate vectors. Athena, project destinations based on current trajectories." The AI immediately calculated, displaying 3 red lines extending through star systems. With 93% confidence, these paths lead to Outpost Delta 7, the mining colony on Hephaestus IV, and the agricultural settlement on New Eden. A heavy silence fell over the bridge as the implications became clear. These weren't random targets. They were human settlements, each with populations ranging from hundreds to thousands. "They're hunting us," Captain Vega said quietly. "This wasn't an isolated incident. It's a coordinated attack." Reyes straightened, her decision already made. "Divide the battle group. Captain Vega, you'll take the Indomitable and 3 escorts to intercept the vessel heading for New Eden. It has the largest civilian population. Commander Watanabe will lead 3 ships to Hephaestus IV, and Commander Rodriguez will take the remaining 3 to Delta 7. "Splitting our forces could be risky," Vega cautioned. "We don't know their full capabilities, which is precisely why we can't allow them to reach populated areas," Rice countered. "Each group will have sufficient firepower to engage one vessel. If any group encounters a situation beyond their capabilities, they are to fall back and request reinforcement." As the orders were relayed throughout the battle group, Rice retreated to her ready room. The wall displays activated automatically, showing the profiles of the 3 settlements now under threat. Families, children, people who had left Earth seeking opportunity in the stars, all now in the path of an enemy humanity barely understood. She accessed her secure communications terminal. "This is Admiral Rice to all settlement commanders in the Velorum cluster. Emergency Protocol Theta is now in effect. Begin immediate evacuation preparations. This is not a drill. Commander Fatima Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the destroyer Relentless, leading her small task force toward Outpost Delta 7. As the newest of the 3 targeted settlements, Delta 7 housed primarily scientists and engineers researching exotic materials found in the system's asteroid belt. ETA to intercept, she asked her navigation officer. 4 hours, 17 minutes at current velocity, Commander, came the prompt reply. We're gaining on the Harbinger vessel, but not quickly enough to intercept before it reaches Delta 7's outer sensor range. We need to intercept well before they reach New Eden's orbit, he decided. Navigator, plot an aggressive intercept course. Push the engines to maximum. Sir, that will put significant strain on our propulsion systems, the navigator cautioned. Noted. Do it anyway, Vega ordered. Engineering can complain about the repairs after we've saved 5,000 lives. As the Indomitable accelerated, pushing its massive engines beyond design parameters, the ship's structure groaned in protest. Warning indicators flashed across multiple stations, but the crew ignored them, focused on the approaching confrontation. Sir, the tactical officer called out suddenly. I'm detecting a power spike from the Harbinger vessel. They're accelerating. Vega frowned. They shouldn't have detected us yet at this range. A chilling possibility occurred to him. Unless they were already aware of our pursuit. Captain, Athena's holographic avatar appeared beside him. Based on the sudden acceleration and trajectory adjustment, I believe the Harbinger vessel is responding to a communication from another source. They appear to have been warned of our approach. The implications were disturbing. If the Harbingers could communicate faster than human subspace channels, or worse, if they had some form of long-range sensors that exceeded Earth's technology, the entire battle plan might be compromised. Contact Admiral Reyes immediately, Vega ordered. All battle groups may be walking into traps. Rodriguez's task force had successfully used the asteroid belt to mask their approach, closing to within weapons range of the Harbinger vessel without detection. As they prepared to launch their surprise attack, an urgent communication came through from Admiral Reyes. Commander, be advised, the Harbingers may be aware of our pursuit. Extreme caution recommended. The warning came too late. As the Relentless emerged from behind a massive asteroid, the Harbinger vessel suddenly changed course, its weapon systems already charging. Evasive maneuvers, Rodriguez shouted as dazzling energy beams lanced out from the alien ship. The Relentless banked sharply, but the leading edge of the beam caught its port side, carving a molten gash through the outer hull. Emergency systems activated instantly, sealing off compromised sections as damage control teams rushed to affected areas. Direct hit to decks 4 through 6, reported the damage control officer. Minimal casualties, but our port-side missile launchers are offline. Rodriguez gripped her command chair as the ship stabilized. Return fire. All functional weapon systems target their main energy emitters during the vulnerability window. The Relentless and its 2 escort vessels unleashed a coordinated barrage of missiles and energy weapons. Most impacted harmlessly against the Harbinger shields, but 3 missiles, perfectly timed to hit during the predicted vulnerability window, penetrated and detonated against the alien hull. The bridge crew watched in tense silence as the sensor readings updated. Confirmed hits, announced the tactical officer. Their primary weapon system is showing reduced output. We've damaged them. A collective cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Rodriguez remained focused. Don't celebrate yet. Press the advantage while they're recovering. All ships, coordinate fire on the damaged section. As the battle continued, Rodriguez noticed something odd about the Harbinger's response. Despite taking damage, it wasn't retreating or adjusting tactics. It continued pressing toward Outpost Delta 7, absorbing hits while maintaining its course. It's like they don't care about self-preservation, she murmured. Lieutenant, scan for life signs aboard that vessel. The science officer worked his console for several moments before looking up with a troubled expression. Commander, I'm not detecting any organic life forms aboard the Harbinger. Nothing that matches known biological patterns. Are you saying it's automated? A drone ship? Rodriguez asked, her mind racing with the implications. No, Mom. There's definitely something controlling it, but... He hesitated. Whatever's aboard that vessel, it's not alive. At least, not by any definition we understand. The revelation sent a chill through the bridge. They weren't fighting an alien species making poor diplomatic choices. They were facing something fundamentally different from anything humanity had encountered before. Rodriguez opened a channel to Admiral Reyes. Admiral, we've engaged the Harbinger near Delta 7 and have crucial information. These vessels, they're not crewed by biological entities. We may be dealing with artificial intelligence or something beyond our current understanding. As the Relentless continued its assault on the damaged Harbinger, the alien vessel suddenly changed tactics. Rather than continuing toward the outpost, it turned and accelerated directly toward Rodriguez's smallest escort ship, the corvette Swift. Swift, evasive maneuvers immediately. Rodriguez shouted into the comm. The nimble corvette began to turn, but the Harbinger was moving with unexpected speed. In a maneuver that defied the laws of inertia as humans understood them, the alien vessel collided deliberately with the Swift, enveloping it in a blinding flash of energy. When the sensors cleared, the Swift was gone, not destroyed in the conventional sense, but simply absent. In its place was an expanding cloud of subatomic particles that had once been a ship with 73 crew members. Rodriguez stared at the sensor readings in horror. The Harbinger vessel, despite suffering significant damage from the earlier attack, had sacrificed a portion of its mass to completely disintegrate the Swift. Now it turned toward the Relentless, its remaining weapons charging for another attack. All power to forward shields, Rodriguez ordered, her voice steady despite the shock. Prepare for emergency FTL jump if shields drop below 20%. As her remaining ships engaged the wounded but still deadly Harbinger, Rodriguez knew with grim certainty that humanity wasn't just facing a hostile species. They were confronting something that operated on principles beyond their understanding. And somewhere across the stars, Admiral Reyes and the other battle groups were about to make the same discovery. The hunt had taken an unexpected turn. The hunters were becoming the hunted. Unorthodox warfare. Admiral Reyes stood in the indomitable Strategic Command Center, her face illuminated by the holographic displays, showing all three engagements in real time. Commander Rodriguez's report about the non-biological nature of their enemy had been confirmed by the other battle groups. They were facing artificial constructs of unprecedented sophistication. They're not just drones, Captain Vega observed, studying the tactical data streaming in from all fronts. They demonstrate tactical adaptation and learning. Each encounter makes them more effective against our weapons and strategies. Which means we need to be unpredictable, Reyes replied, her mind working through the possibilities. Athena, based on our engagement so far, what tactics would the Harbingers least expect from us? The AI's avatar appeared, her expression contemplative. The Harbingers appear to operate on logical progression algorithms. They expect responses that maximize either offensive or defensive capabilities following conventional military doctrine. Their weakness may lie in strategies that human military historians would classify as asymmetric warfare, approaches that deliberately abandon efficiency in favor of unpredictability. Reyes nodded slowly. They expect us to behave like logical machines. So let's show them how illogical humans can be. She turned to the communications officer. Open channels to all battle group commanders. We're implementing Operation Chaos. Within minutes, the commanders of all three battle groups received their new orders. The reactions ranged from confusion to disbelief, but no one questioned the Admiral's judgment. Humanity was fighting for survival against an enemy that defied conventional understanding. Conventional tactics would not suffice. Near the mining colony of Hephaestus IV, Commander Watanabe reviewed his new orders with raised eyebrows. She wants us to do what? His executive officer asked incredulously. You heard correctly. Watanabe confirmed, already calculating how to implement the seemingly bizarre strategy. We're going to make ourselves appear vulnerable, then use the mining colony's equipment in ways the designers never intended. He opened a channel to Administrator Blake, who had stubbornly refused evacuation earlier. Administrator, I need a comprehensive inventory of your mining equipment, particularly anything that generates electromagnetic pulses or can be repurposed to do so. Blake's weathered face showed confusion. Commander, our equipment is designed to extract ore, not fight alien ships. Exactly, Watanabe replied with the ghost of a smile. Which is precisely why they won't expect us to use it that way. Within hours, the mining colony's massive industrial excavators have been reprogrammed to generate synchronized electromagnetic pulses of unprecedented magnitude. Meanwhile, Watanabe's ships implemented a strategy that went against every principle of space combat tactics. They deliberately exposed weaknesses, appearing to suffer more damage than they actually had. The Harbinger vessel, detecting what it interpreted as catastrophic systems failures across the human ships, adjusted its approach and moved in for what it calculated would be a simple finishing maneuver. It's following the predicted path, reported Watanabe's tactical officer, entering the convergence zone in 30 seconds. Watanabe opened a channel to the mining colony. Administrator Blake, on my mark. Now. From the planet's surface, dozens of industrial excavators activated simultaneously, channeling their power systems into makeshift electromagnetic pulse generators. The resulting wave of energy washed over the approaching Harbinger vessel, just as it passed through the precise coordinates Watanabe had calculated. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The alien ship's systems flickered, its propulsion faltering as the unexpected attack disrupted its operational parameters. It had been prepared for conventional weapons fire, shield impacts, even nuclear detonations, but not for the crude yet effective electromagnetic assault from mining equipment never designed for combat. All ships, engage, Watanabe ordered. His vessels, having only simulated severe damage, unleashed their full arsenal against the temporarily vulnerable Harbinger.